Okay, I think we will get going there at 3 past the hour. Hello, everyone. Very special welcome to you all today. My name is Christina Baggett. I'm a director at Urbis, and I'm a member of the fantastic SIMNA Victorian Organising Committee. Today, we are really excited to be hosting a very special event on values literacy. Before we go any further, we'd like to acknowledge country, that we are all on Aboriginal land, and we acknowledge the many thousands of years of care and custodianship of the land, and that sovereignty was never ceded. We pay respects to elders past and present. Today, I'm joining from Naarm on Wurundjeri country. We'd love to know where you are joining us from today, so feel free to drop that into the chat. As I said, this is a very special event that we're hosting today, where we'll be exploring values in our work as social measurement practitioners. This is going to be a very thought-provoking, fun, interactive session with colours and breakout rooms. It will be led by Dr. Samantha Abbato and Dr. Wendy Muller. Just to let you know that this session is being recorded. And it will be available to you after. That will be the main presentations and not the group work in the breakout spaces. So without further ado, I'll pass over to Sam and Wendy to introduce themselves and this wonderful session.
Welcome, everyone. I think I'm not on mute. I've got so many things up on my screen, just making sure that I've got the microphone there. Great. Thanks, Wendy. So great to see you all. Wendy and I have been having values conversations for a very long time, and probably for about the last year, we've been discussing the idea of developing some really practical tools and visuals to really help practitioners be able to start to develop values literacy and be able to start to talk values in their work. I'm really excited to say that this is the first time we've tested this out with real people. So you can consider yourselves our I don't know, guinea pigs. But it's something we've been thinking about a lot, so we're very excited. So it's a bit of a taster as to what we've been planning as a whole values training piece. And we're very open to feedback on this little taster, and really keen to hear from you at the end as well, about what you've thought about it and how the activities work for you in bringing values literacy into your practice, because I'm guessing that you're here because you're interested in values and interested in being able, like us, being able to start to verbalize where values actually fit in your practice in social impact measurement and evaluation. So really briefly about us. For those that saw the little video, this is a bit of a screenshot from the video, which was really fun to do. I want to will take a lot of pleasure in introducing Wendy Muller to say a couple of sentences about herself before we go on.
Wonderful. Welcome, yeah. Thanks, Sam. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, my name is Wendy Muller. I'm not from this world, but I am an organisational psychologist. So that just means I have an endorsement in organisational psychology, and I really love and very passionate about working with organisations, and I believe that in order to lead well, you have to be well. So the link between leadership, organisational practices and wellbeing to me is really, really important. I've been very lucky to work across multiple areas around that. It says here also that I'm interested in relationships. So I've previously talked about some of my research, which is the link between how stress and workplace stress in particular can affect the romantic relationship at home. And I'm always really happy to talk about that if anyone has any thoughts around that or any bubblings. But as Sam said, we're here to talk about values. And first and foremost, I take an opportunity here for you to reflect on why you're here. And with virtual presentations such as this, you might be drawn to multitask or do other things, but I just implore you to think about what would give you the best opportunity to really stay present in today's discussion, because we're going to talk about things that, as we talk in the video, are very much a guiding light. And we work best with values when there's an alignment to that, and we work best when we are present to what we're feeling and experiencing both physiologically and cognitively as well when it comes to values. So if there's something that you need to step away from during this time, or even just having a glass of water or taking some breaths to be really present today, I encourage you to have a reflection around that. But that's pretty much me. I am really looking forward to having a conversation about values beyond just selecting what is your favorite or most prevalent value at the time. So yeah, whatever it is that you need to do, come on this journey with us for the next 90 minutes or so. Thanks, Sam. I'll get you to introduce yourself.
Great. Thank you, Wendy. And I just took your advice by having a nice mouthful of water.
I love it. Perfect.
Yeah, great. So just a really little bit about me. I know a few of you in the audience, so I'll keep it really short. Those that know me will know that I love evaluation and measurement of social impact. And some of you may know, some of you may not know, that I was an epidemiologist before epidemiologists were trendy. But from that background in public health research, I really consider myself a methodologist. And really from that methods base, I've really enjoyed the practical challenges of evaluation, and the values piece is definitely something that's come up in my practice over the 20 years. And I can't remember when Wendy and I first met, but ever since we connected, which would be well more than a decade, we've had these conversations that really, when I look at it, were really values conversations, which is really around, when we do evaluation, we do work with people, we do work in teams, we do work in a lot of collaborations, and there's a lot of conflict that happens there as well from those collaborations and from that work. As soon as you a group of more than two, there's going to be some sort of conflict, which we'll talk about in terms of where your values may be challenged. So aside from that, I've really been interested in the way that we frame our work, not just what we do in terms of all of the approaches and tools we can bring to our work, but how we actually frame our work in terms of who we are, how we bring that lens to our work. So I'm also really passionate about really creating practical tools. So this session, as we go into it, and I'll talk about the objectives in the next slide, this is not a session where we're really talking about the academic side and the definitions of values. This is really about bringing a really initial values conversation, a values literacy into our practice. So we're really, starting from that with those very first steps. So the purpose of this workshop is really, from those practical steps, is really looking at the beginning of those practical steps. So we're really looking at the very beginning of a process that's going to help us have values conversations in our work. So at the start of that, it's really what we're hoping to do with this session today is really highlighting the role of values for us. So really understanding the role of values in our work as social impact practitioners and evaluators. And also the second kind of sub-objective here is to be able to identify not only the professional, but the personal consequences of having a compromised value in your work. And again, as I said, we'd love to hear your feedback about this approach. So why is values literacy important for social impact measurement and evaluation professionals? It's really, like, for me, no piece of work has felt more important than this piece of work, which is partly why I'm so excited and passionate about starting this conversation. Because when we think of it, whether we choose to acknowledge it or not, values shape every part of what we do as evaluators or as we measure social impact. So from the methods we choose, from those very early conversations we have with collaborators and clients, to the results we produce, to the decisions we make, values are part of that, whether we acknowledge it or not. So they shape every aspect of the evaluation process. The second thing is that it's really been acknowledged over probably the last 5 years, the importance of having some values literacy for our competency as professionals. So not just knowing how we can access, guidelines for values or ethical guidelines and principles, but to be able to identify the role of values in our own work for our own professional competency. And finally, it's really been well established in many fields that at the heart of really successful collaborations are aligned values. So if you're really wanting to do good work happens through good collaborations, I believe. And I'm realizing that more and more as I move into, not into the abyss, but through my career, I'm realizing that more and more, that they're effective for critical partnerships. So being able to identify what your values are and being able to communicate your values is really important for establishing those partnerships. And some of the best partnerships and collaborations I've had have happened by chance. And when I dissect why they have happened, it's because of really solid values alignment. So I think that's another real advantage of having that values literacy, is that then we have those partnerships that are really successful. They don't just happen by chance.